Good day everyone, my name is Josh Baron Benavides from St. Thomas and I'm going to explain the importance of DNA and RNA and their similarities and differences. First, I'm going to discuss their importance. DNA and RNA are perhaps the most important molecules in cell biology, responsible for the storage and reading of genetics information that underpins all life. DNA is pivotal to our growth, reproduction, and health. It contains the instruction necessary for your cells to produce proteins that affects many different processes and functions in your body. All known cellular life and some viruses contains DNA. The main role of DNA in the cell is the long-term storage of information. It is often compared to a blueprint since it contains the instruction to construct other components of the cell, such as proteins and RNA molecules. The primary function of RNA is to create proteins via translation. RNA carries genetics information that is translated by ribosomes into various proteins necessary for cellular processes. mRNA, rRNA, and tRNA are the three main types of RNA involved in protein synthesis. RNA contains uracil in place of thymine. Most RNAs are generally single-stranded with partial double-stranded regions due to the folding back of their single chain. RNA serves as genetic material in many viruses. The second is their similarities. Both DNA and RNA have sugar molecules in their subunits, but those sugars are slightly different. DNA uses deoxyribose but RNA uses ribose, which has an extra hydroxyl group tacked on. DNA and RNA also have nearly identical nitrogenous bases. Both have the bases adenine, cytosine, and guanine. Both are made up of 5 carbons. Pentyl sugars, phosphate, and nitrogenous bases. Both are polynucleotide chains made up of single nucleotide unit, or monomer. Both biomolecules are synthesized by the polymerase enzyme. Practically, both DNA and RNA can be precipitated using alcohol. The last is their differences. There are 2 differences that distinguish DNA from RNA. RNA contains the sugar ribose while DNA contains the slightly different sugar deoxyribose, a type of ribose that lacks one oxygen atom. And RNA has the nucleobase uracil while DNA contains thymine. DNA is stable under alkaline conditions, while RNA is not. DNA and RNA performs different functions in humans. DNA is responsible for storing and transferring genetic information, while RNA directly codes for amino acids and acts as a messenger between DNA and ribosomes.